So again, even if you're working by yourself on a project, super useful to add the code to source control, to be able to keep track of a history of all the changes that you've made, to be able to roll back, revert changes that you didn't want, to be able to see conflicts that we'll look at in a minute, merge, which we'll look at in a minute. All these different things are useful just by yourself. But the reality is that most of the time we're not working by ourselves on projects, that we're working in a team. And there are many great benefits to working as a team using source control. And so that's what we want to look at next. So again, I'm currently just one person working on this project, but as soon as I want to add somebody else to work on the project, then I need to get that to work on GitHub, get them added to the source control so that they can make changes to this particular project. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go up to GitHub. I'm going to go back to the project itself. And if I'm the one who created the project, I am the owner of that project, right? And one of the things that I can do is add people to collaborate with me. And so when I'm on the project, I can go to settings if I'm the one who's created it. So typically in a team, you'd have one person create it, and then they're going to do this process for all the other members of the team. So I can click on settings, and then under settings, I can go to collaborators, and then I can choose a collaborator, someone to add to collaborate with me on this project. Now in my case, who I'm going to add, it's this point I have to introduce you to my twin brother, Evil Hilton. Okay, so myself, Professor Hilton, and Evil Hilton are going to work together on this project. All right, so I'm going to go in and add Evil Hilton, and it will go find Evil Hilton, and I can click on Evil Hilton and say add Evil Hilton to this repository. And as soon as I do that, it's going to send an email to Evil Hilton saying, hey, do you want to be a collaborator on this project? And so it sent an invite to work on this project together. So again, one person's going to create it, and they're going to build the initial structure, get it added to source control, and then they're going to share it with other individuals by making them collaborators. All right. Now this is where it gets tricky. Okay. In order to do this, I need to hand it over to Evil Hilton on his machine. So we're on two separate machines working together, and we're going to see how this goes. It's always tough to do this one because I have to splice between two different computers recording, and it doesn't always work great. So we're going to do our best, but be gentle as I try and put this together from two different machines, splicing the videos together to make this work. Just like I feel like this is like the old Parent Trap, maybe the new Parent Trap too, where they have the actors playing both parts. And they have to do like little split screens and stuff. It's kind of like that, okay? So just appreciate it. That's all I have to say about that. All right, so with that, I've got this repository. I've sent the invite to Evil Hilton, and we now need to turn it over to Evil Hilton for a minute to show what he has to do on his end. All right, Evil Hilton, take it away.
Well, hello. This is Evil Hilton, your beloved Professor Hilton's evil twin brother. And we're going to collaborate on this project together to show you how to use GitHub. And so the first thing from my end is that I received an invitation to be a collaborator on this project. Let me pull up the repository. So I can do it through getting an email, or I can do it by going to the repository. So in this case, I'm going to go to github.com, Prof. Spencer Hilton, my evil twin brother, and then I'm going to go to Git Fun. Now, when I go here, it's going to say, Professor Spencer Hilton has invited you to collaborate on this repository. View invitation. I'm going to view the invitation and accept that invitation to collaborate on this beautiful project with elder Professor Hilton. All right, now I'm a collaborator on this project. I now have push access to Professor Spencer Hilton's Git Fun repository. Now, how do I get this on my machine? Right now, I'm using a Mac, which I'm sure has nothing to do with the fact that I'm evil. And so what I do is I take and I copy this code. So on this link right here, code, I can see that if I want to clone this, this is the link I want to use. So I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to open Rider. And in there, where I'd normally say new solution, instead I say clone repository. And then I can paste in my URL. So this is what each team member would do as they're building this project. The one individual is going to create the project, push it up, get it loaded up on the repository on GitHub, and then make the other individuals collaborators and share this link. Well, then I can say clone this project. And when I do that, it's going to open the same project that I had open on the other machine. I mean, my brother had open on the other machine for his project. All right, so I can look at the files, and sure enough in here, there's this program CS file that has the code that we wrote. This is a line of code. Well, evil brother, brother, I can play, two can play at that game. This is so stupid. Okay, I gotta do it. I gotta keep two distinct characters. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, evil Hilton here. I two can play at this game. Console.writeLine, and I can say, I can also write a line of code. Ha, ha, ha. All right, so if I save that, I don't know what I just clicked. If I save that, I'll reload all from disk. Save that. Now it's saved. Now same idea here. If I go look, this is my commit. I can see here that there are changes that have not been made, changes that need to be made. Now this has some unversioned files as well, which are files that we're not modifying. But here I have this program CS file, and it's showing me that there are changes that need to be made. So same idea on here. Now if I haven't, I can always go to this Git menu again. This is where my options are for many of the things that we'll be doing. But this button right here is to get to our Git, our commit. And so I can click on here and say, those are the changes that I want to commit. And I can say, two can play at that game. And not only that, well, let's do that first. I'll commit these changes, and that commits them again locally. That doesn't push them anywhere. And so in order to push them, in Rider, I don't have the separate push and pull buttons that we'll use, but I do have this refresh, which will, I don't know if that'll push the changes actually. Let's look and see. If I click on, well, let's look and see on the repository itself. So if I go into program CS, I don't have the line of code that I wrote. So let's go back to Rider. And in Rider, I can say git and then push. And it shows me the change that's going to be made. It's going to send this to complete this game change and push it up to GitHub. So when I push there, it will push it up to the GitHub repository. I can refresh here, and sure enough, I can see those changes. Now, what does that look like on Professor Hilton's side? Let's find out. Back to Professor Hilton.
Okay, it's me again. And one of the problems with trying to splice these videos together and render and all that stuff is that I don't really have a great grasp on how much time I have. I think I have 1.5 minutes left. So let's do it. So now that those changes have been pushed to GitHub, I can go on my side and click on Program CS. And sure enough, I can see that this line of code's been added, right? Okay, so that's added. But down on my Visual Studio, if I look and see, it's not there. So how do I get the code from GitHub down to my project? And the answer is, just like we have this push command, we also have this pull command. And so I can say go pull the changes from GitHub down to my local machine, and sure enough, that line of code gets popped in. All right. Now, let me do it this way. Let me add a line of code here. Well, we're going to be running out of time here. Okay, so this idea of pushing and pulling, and then if I want to do both at the same time, I have this option here to do a sync, which is a pull and then a push. Okay, which is going to pull the code from the server first and then push my changes. And we'll look more into this process in the next video. Spencer out.